Well, hello, 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 and happy almost Christmas. Yeah, happy almost Christmas. Gino, can we have this monitor down just a little bit in here, perhaps? That'd it was one I was going to mention. Now two, all of a sudden. Um, Tomorrow, December 22nd, going back to 1975, is a day. It used to be a bad day for me. It used to be a sad day for me, and nothing but. Now, it's a thoughtful, introspective day to me, more so than bad. It's not bad, because time has gone by. 47 years, ostensibly, will have gone by tomorrow since I lost basically one of the heroes of my life. And I lost my first hero of my life, my grandfather, Hurley C. Stout Sr., my poppy, on December 22nd of 1975. And let me tell you what, as an 11-year-old kid, that hurt. That hurt hard. It hit hard. And I have to say, it still kind of smacks today, okay, in its own different way. But it's more of an introspective, celebratory thing because, man, I had my grandfather, until he was 81 years of age, which back in 75, that was a good run. Yeah, it's still a decent run, but I have to tell you. So I have to say, if you're missing people who you've lost. 2 years ago, this past couple of weeks ago, I lost my father on December 7th. December hasn't really been a super month for my family and people getting sick, leading to their demise or, their ultimate demise. I had an uncle, my uncle Drew Lynn, a few years later in '82. He had a problem that on the 23rd of December ended up leading to his death a few years later. My grandmother back in '79, Poppy's wife, my Grammy Helen Stout, she started feeling a little poorly and badly, and they had her in the hospital in December, and by Valentine's Day, on the 11th of February, actually, we lost her. So, yes, late December is filled with wonder, filled with fun, filled with. I was just stopped at Wawa on the way down for a little drink, and great rendition of Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And I have to tell you, that perked me right up. Boy, they were cranking the Christmas tunes at Wawa, and it sounded great. Thank you, Wawa folks, up on Cranberry South River Road here in central New Jersey. Great stuff. So, at any rate, I wanna acknowledge my poppy, my grandfather, Hurley C. Stout Sr. Again, 47 years ago tomorrow, we will have been without him, but physically. Because let me tell you what, he's in here. He's up here with me for all those years, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I mentioned my grandmother last week, and we miss her too. But she's still in my heart and up here as well, along with my uncle Drew, um, and just all manner of folks, who my aunt Pat, Uncle Drew's wife, matter of fact. It'll be 2 years ago here just the other day that we lost her. So it's, December, for all its wonderfulness, curveball here, curveball there, you're going to have it. You're going to have it. The other thing I'm thinking of today is, well, we're coming toward the end of the professional football season of the National Football League, of course. And games this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Tonight, of course, Jets are playing, of course, so we'll see if we can't maybe pull that up on the old computerator. And we'll go from there. But, the Giants, of course, New York Giants, they're my team. They have been since they drafted Phil Simms back in '79. But it's not like that's the only team that I like. Of course, I like the Jets, going back to Joe Willie Namath, Broadway Joe. Dolphins were always a favorite of mine starting in the early '70s and all the way through. The New Orleans Saints, the lovable losers for so many years, used to watch old Archie Manning, Eli and Peyton's dad, scramble, run for his life whenever they'd be on like a Monday Night Football, which was not that often back then. Other teams. I mean, I always kind of dug the Packers. I was never a big Vikings fan for some reason. The Raiders I didn't cotton to until just as an adult. The Cowboys. My father rooted for the Cowboys because old Roger Staubach being a Navy man, just like Dad was. So I understood that early on, but I quickly got away from that. Another team who I also kind of always dug is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like the colors, the black and gold, and I ended up wearing number 75 in high school and then during my semi-pro career for a bunch of years because I like Mean Joe Green. He was the man, number 75. That whole group of folks, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, Mel Blount over on defense. The linebackers, Jack, Ham and Lambert. Again, L.C. Greenwood, over there on defense. Mike Webster, the center. Rocky Blyer, the fullback. John Stallworth, along with Lynn Swann. And, of course, the head of the Italian army, Franco Harris, who we lost today. Yeah. 72 years old. And Franco came to my college. I went to Susquehanna University, which at that time was a little college, only about 1,400 people. And boy, didn't he come. I'm going to say my sophomore or junior year of college, back either his last year or the first year after he retired. And he spoke at Susquehanna University. Great speech, very motivating, very uplifting, very positive. Sound like anybody you know? And just an overall good guy. I didn't get to meet him, but a good friend of mine, Todd Coldgrove, who was a fellow WQSU radio head like myself, he got to meet him, and he said it was absolutely fantastic. So we celebrate the career of Franco Harris with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then for a very brief little time in 1984 with the Seattle Seahawks. Didn't work out, and that was the end of his football days. But as a Pittsburghian, as a guy who people know and love and knew and loved and really adored out in the Pittsburgh area, and who embraced his Pittsburghness, so to speak, who was always supposedly eager and happy to talk about the Immaculate Reception play, which 50 years ago on Friday will mark that anniversary. Just weird that it's just a few days before they're going to retire his number and celebrate the Immaculate Reception out in Pittsburgh. Just a few days before all of that Franco had to go home. But hey, you know what? The boss has his plan, and it was time for Franco to go home. So we salute Franco Harris, number 32 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we will miss him being around. Saw a great piece this morning live on the NFL Network that Terry Bradshaw could not have been any more genuine and effusive and just supportive of Franco Harris. Much like anybody, back to my grandfather, who knew my grandfather. He was a policeman in town in Berwick, Pennsylvania for a bunch of years. People knew Hurley. They knew Mr. Stout. They knew him, and they loved him, they respected him, they revered him, and they adored him, depending upon who they were. Two great men cut from completely different bolts of cloth who, the end of December, right before the holidays, meant the end of the line for them here. But you've got to know that my grandfather, is patrolling the streets watching for knuckleheads in heaven. I don't think he's got a very hard job anymore, I got to tell you. And you know what? I'm sure that Franco's going to meet a bunch of his NFL mates and Steeler mates and Coach Noll and everything. And I bet you they put a team together, a heavenly Steeler team or a heavenly pro football team. So God bless, Godspeed. We miss you both. Some for a long time and some for, well, just now. Hey, we're coming to you today, the old program here from the studios, of course, of Hamilton Media's Hamilton Radio at the confluence, don't you know, of where I-195 that goes from Trenton to the shore and Route 206 meet, U.S. Route 206 in Hamilton Township, New Jersey, thus the Hamilton Radio. Thank you, Gino. We're mere moments from Trenton. So if that means anything to you, I myself, lately, when I go past the Capitol complex, always feel the need to wash. I don't know. It's that, I don't know, Governor Gopher Puss or whatever his name is supposedly running the ship here. Anyway, Hamilton Radio is an iHeart radio station. In case you didn't know, didn't remember, or had forgotten, it's also the flagship station here for Common Ground with John Thielon, the program you're currently watching, and for the Exceptional Radio Broadcast Network, the ERBN. And I'm looking forward to making things happen where that's concerned, expanding the reaches, if you will. But now, here, where Hamilton Radio is concerned, great new website. I have to tell you, if you haven't looked at it already, please do have a go at hamiltonradio.net. hamiltonradio.net. And there in the upper left-hand area, you'll find two ways to access the programming on Hamilton Radio. Right now, some of the best in Christmas music, holiday music you've ever heard. Yeah, the stuff you've heard, 85,000 times, okay? Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, Peggy Lee. Okay, love the song, I have to tell you. But there's other things too. There are other things too. I've been listening all week, all last week, all week before, and I've even said, Gino, man, where did that come from? And he says, you like that, huh? I said, yes, I do. This is different. Different is good. Embrace the different. So, hamiltonradio.net. One more time, because they have the internet on computers now, which is nice. hamiltonradio.net. Now, you can always go to iHeartRadio.com and do a search for Hamilton Radio Oldies from there, but the easiest, slickest, smoothest ways is to go to HamiltonRadio.net, and you can hit the U.S. Player for if you're living in the States, or by chance we're hitting you overseas someplace, or like, Canada or Mexico, hit the international link to get you the stream to HamiltonRadio.net. Yeah, there are two. One for the U.S. and one for the international countries. Yeah, okay. There you go. Check it out one more time, HamiltonRadio.net. Actually, another one more time, HamiltonRadio, all one word, .net. So, it is that time of year. There's chill in the air. It's nippy out, nippy mornings. There was frost on the truck today and the last several days. It's supposed to get cold in the next day or two around here. I guess the Midwest is already beginning to get their blast. And everybody, I love these guys who are like 38 and 40 years old who don't remember back in 1981 or in 1983 when it was -4 out on Christmas Day in 1981. Oh, yeah. Remember that? Or right around Christmas time in 1983, visiting one of my aunties in the convalescent home in which she lived, and on the digital bank thermometer in downtown Berwick, Pennsylvania, on or about the 27th or 28th of December, yeah, -1. So that's going to get to be 22 degrees out. Please, I got my shorts and T-shirt ready to go. How about it, Gino? Remember when it used to really get cold? I mean, okay, cold is cold. It's under 32 degrees, so if there's precip, you have to watch. But it's that time of year again. It's bound to happen. The chilly days, the nippy nights, the occasional flake of flying snow. And if you're like me, still up here in the north, the overabundance, now different than Hamilton Radio's programming, but there's just an overabundance, it seems, of some of the new and even the classic stuff, the holiday specials, the Christmas specials, the Hallmark Channel. Oh my gosh, they're going into overdrive with the Christmas movies, have you noticed? But, it's also the time of year when, up till just not too long ago, it was William Shatner, Jimmy J.J. Walker. Love Jimmy the J.J., I have to tell you. Joe Namath, speaking of him again, William Devane and all those funky, the weird, that 75-year-old gal, Martha. It's that time of year when they were talking to us incessantly about Medicare Part C. and the mailman, and the an Amazon guy and the UPS woman, they deliver all those wonderful notices about our new health care for next year. Nerds, okay? Like we don't have enough to go through, or even if we do. Um, I don't seem to remember all of this nonsense this time of year before the so-called Affordable Care Act being enabled back in '09. We just did what we did. We came and went to where we came and went to, and Merry Christmas. And this time of year, if you bumped into somebody, it wasn't a big thing. It was more like, hey, sorry, pal, didn't mean to get in your way. And the guy's always like, oh, that's no problem. Just had it today, going in and out of the Wawa. Hey, come on in. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you very much. In the middle of August, people would just as soon give you the one finger salute. You know what I mean? But it's, I could go on and on, but I won't. How about this? Let's make it a light workout today, if that's okay with you. Impactful, but we're not going to go, long and long and long. Okay, I've already prattled on about my grandfather and about Pittsburgh Steelers Franco Harris. So let me depart from all this healthcare nonsense, because again, I could go on, but I won't. And I want to tell you something that I think is right on it, ideal and optimal for this time of year. It illustrates one of the great challenges that we're facing anymore as a country. It's from it's called a thing called The Nation. I don't know if it's it is a publication. I'm sure they got a website, but it's a ultra far left publication. And I mean, it's way out there. It's like, come on in, you're playing a little deep out there, okay? In any event, they've got a story out there entitled, they have had a story on The Nation, or in The Nation, called New Wars on Christmas Targets, or New Wars on Christmas, rather, I have to put the right emphasis on the proper syllable. New War on Christmas targets gifts, Santa, and lights. And the people at The Nation, let me tell you something, they're just giddy. They're like school children, so happy about this article. And I'm going to quote here, okay? Along with fruitcake and caroling, pardon me while I read, along with fruitcake and caroling, one of the many traditions we look forward to in December is the annual War on Christmas, in which religious and conservative activists, and pundits accuse secularism, socialists, and innocent fans of the phrase "Happy Holidays" of stripping Christianity from the occasion. But for the last several years, seasonal skirmishes have broken out on new fronts. In these new fights, who's fighting at the holidays? Come on, stop it. If you are, knock it off. Santa knows when you've been sleeping. He knows when you've been fighting, too. Knock it off. Okay? It's not that the holiday is sliding down a slippery slope away from the manger. Instead, it's that Christmas is, ready for this, bad for the economy, bad for your health, and bad for the environment. What? Nothing. It's Christmas is bad for the economy, for your health, and for the environment. Did you hear that, Chino? Here, let me say it again for those of you sitting way out back. They say at The Nation that Christmas is bad for the economy. Huh. Bad for your health. Huh. Happiness is no good, I guess. Okay. And bad for the environment. Huh. Okay. All right. So those reindeer sweaters and charming, dress socks that you put under the tree, or whatever you put under the tree, they're good for the retail sector of business. Okay. Guy by the name of Joel Waldfogel, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business. Ah, yes, the Ivy League, and all the ridiculousness, ass-baggery that it has become. Once was a time, kids, when, University of Pennsylvania, Princeton University, Harvard, Yale, man, Brown, Dartmouth, Cornell, all of them were bastions of most excellent education and thought-provoking instruction by those who knew what they were talking about. Now, place your bets, $75,000, $80,000 a year for claptrap, for the most part. Not always, but for the most part. At any rate, So this Mr. Waldfogel at the Wharton School of Business, P.S. also where Donald Trump went, again, before all the ass-baggery and the nuttery started, of course, but I, again, digress. This Waldfogel spent time railing against Christmas gift-giving. At any rate, he argues that it's an inefficient way to spend money that costs the country $25 billion, with a B, billion dollars or more a year. In his book, get the name of this book, Scroogeonomics, Why You Shouldn't Buy Presents for the Holidays. And people are buying this junk, okay? But Waldfogel then says these gifts generate less satisfaction than things we buy for ourselves. You know, we don't really know what other people want. That's why you say, okay, excuse me, dummy. That's why you ask, hey, so, sweetie, what would you like for Christmas? You know, son, what would you like for Christmas? You know, and it doesn't matter if you asked that 3 days ago or 3 months ago. Doesn't matter. My mother was famous, August. You know, oh, your father and I are going to such and such of a store down on Long Beach Island that we like to go to. Just curious, you know, what would you like for Christmas? Mother, it's the middle of August. I know, but the bargains are fantastic. Okay, doesn't matter. So again, Scroogeonomics, Why You Shouldn't Buy Presents for the Holidays is the book that this Joel Waldfogel has written. He says that gifts generate less satisfaction than the stuff that we buy for ourselves. We really don't know what other people want, but we do know what we want. Because of this, in his warped view, Christmas shopping is an orgy of wealth destruction as we spend money on things people don't value as the money we pay for them. And he says, I'm not against spending, just against sloppy spending. And he said this, of course, on an NPR show. Of course, on an NPR show. It's called Tell Me More. Well, I don't want to know more. How about that? And anybody worth half a brain probably doesn't want to know more either, Joel Waldfogel. In one experiment, get a load of this, he asked his students at the Wharton School of Business to rate the level of satisfaction they had with the gifts they were giving. Here's what happened. From the survey, he determined that gifts generate an average of 20% less satisfaction than things we buy for ourselves, which, folks, is totally missing the point of giving a present at Christmas time. Or any time, to be truthful with you, but we're talking about Christmas. If you're a secularist, you're never going to get it. If you're some pointy-headed academic elite, you're also not going to understand. You'll never get it, okay? Gift giving at Christmas, here, you ready? Here it is. Gift giving at Christmas is intended to remind us of the gift that God gave us with the birth of Jesus and the story surrounding that. Now, I don't care if you're Charlie churchgoer, you go 3 times a week or you go 3 times a year, Christmas, Easter, and the other time your wife says, come on, you're going. Okay, doesn't matter. The Christmas story, to me and to so many others, is one of the best stories. Never mind it's Christmas, Christian, Jesus, or what have you. Take that away from it. It's one of the best stories ever. Here again, the Bible, one of the best story books, so to speak, that there's ever been, okay? Waldfogel says that this is not true, that, you know, of gifts that we buy for our closest family members or friends who we know well enough, you know, to give gifts accurately. Oh, okay, so wait a minute, this sloppy gift giving doesn't apply to the people that we really know well. Well, let me ask you something. Who the hell else are we buying gifts for by far and large? Yes, there's Secret Santa at the office. Yes, you may have a friend who you know, again, for a long bunch of years. I just did that with my friend Bob Provell down in Florida. He, when we were young fellows, you know, in high school and right after, had a 1973 Chevrolet Camaro. He misses that car. He loved that car. He would love to have another one. So as I'm surfing around the old interwebs, I found a T-shirt, a black T-shirt with white graphics of a Camaro, and it just said 73 and then the car right there. I'm like, I got to get that for him. I've got to get that. It just arrived the other day, and he is absolutely thoroughly over the moon about it. Why? Because I know him well, and I wanted to get him something. He's like a brother to me. So you're telling me if I'm given something to I don't know. I've done this before too. Like when the bank, has the Christmas tree for the underprivileged children, and you get them a present. Okay, get one for a boy, or you get one for a girl. You have again Secret Santa at work, or maybe there's an office. I don't know, something or other else, or something at the church or wherever it is you go to worship. So what? So what? And let me just stop here again to make this point, okay? Is it any of this guy Joel Waldfogel's business about who we give to and what we give them and how much we spend on it? Last I checked, it was a big none ya. None your business, Joel. The theory behind this should not be surprising to economists who know well that consumers are best equipped to make decisions about purchasing things for themselves. Yes, Mr. Waldfogel, we get it. It says, the basis of many economists' disdain for government, because after all, when government chooses for us, they get it wrong. They get it wrong. It's the wrong health care program, the wrong color shirt, remember this one, the wrong bridge to nowhere? Yeah, there's an actual bridge that was built to a point because it ends and goes to nowhere. But it was federally mandated, federally subsidized. Remember that one, Gino? I think it was up in Alaska, the bridge to nowhere. Doesn't matter where it is. If you're building a bridge to nowhere, you've got too much time, money, and stupidity on your hands, okay? So this notion that we're best suited to choose for ourselves is a pretty basic notion and a fairly commonsensical one, Waldfogel said. You know what? Okay. Except here's the thing. The government's not giving us gifts. It's the exact opposite. The government is basically trying to pen us in. While the theory may bear up to microeconomic scrutiny, others say Waldfogel is missing the point altogether, and I'm one of the others. He's missed the point altogether. Giving presents, giving gifts, it's good for society. It's good for people. Did you ever see? It's probably over 50 years old. It's a early 1970s Christmas special. I think it's the one where the story of Kris Kringle is told. Santa Claus is coming to town, where he brings the toys, to the little girls and boys in Sombertown because the Meisterburger's like, we don't have toys. Toys are illegal. Toys. Ugh. Okay. Well, there's a character in that called the Winter Warlock. I think Keenan Wynn was the voice for it. And he's a very angry guy. Oh, Winter Warlock, what are you doing? Okay, until Kris Kringle gives him a gift. He gives him a choo-choo. And all of a sudden, he warms right up. A choo-choo. I've always wanted one. And here's this mega old guy. All he needs is a present. And everything is good. At least better. Again, giving gifts is good for society. Then they move on to something else that they approve of over at The Nation. Ready for this one? It's the war on Santa's gut. Yeah? What about it? I say that because I have been Santa. Santa's a busy guy. He can't be everywhere every day, during the holidays. So sometimes he needs a helper like yours truly to put on the suit and say, hello, boys and girls. Ho, ho, ho. What would you like for Christmas? And I've done it several times. Love doing that, okay? And this is something that's fairly new, the war on Santa's gut over the last few years. Simply put, somebody thinks that Santa's too fat. You know what? Just again, on one of the TV children's specials that's as old as me, 1964, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer one, Mrs. Claus says, eat. The children expect a fat Santa this year. Oh, mama. And he does. And then he's jolly, okay? Yes, it's a cartoony, not really, it's an animated special, but the message underneath is the message underneath, okay? The bottom line is, Santa Claus is not too fat, but they think so. There's no such thing as this jolly, roly-poly guy, evidently. People don't dress like that anyway, they say, when we're big and fat, because it emphasizes just how big and fat they are. Really? Come on, man. I'm not talking about the guy you see walking the streets, walking around the way, who's, 5'6" by 5'6". Brother's got a problem, whether it's an eating problem or, a glandular problem, or both, okay? And they go on to say, plus, it sends the wrong message to our children. Really? Get a load of this. There have been places where kids have been counseled, mind you, that when they went to see Santa Claus, wherever he was, they should tell Santa that he ought to lose some weight. Are you believing this, man? You're going to have your kids go to the Santa hut, the Santa cottage, or the Santa, place at the mall or wherever, and the first thing, hello, little boy, what can I get you for Christmas? Well, first thing, Santa, it'd be great if you'd lose some weight. What? Okay, here you go, piece of coal, goodbye. That's what I would do. I'm sorry I didn't have coal back when I played Santa. You're gonna have your 7-year-old tell Santa that he has to lose some weight. All this stuff, once again, is coming from these pin-headed, pointy-headed elites in academia. And academia is one of the 4 corners of deceit in our country right now. Did you know that? Yeah, the 4 corners of deceit. Government, media, academia, and science. Those are the 4 corners of deceit. Here's a perfect yet somewhat pathetic illustration. There's an Australian public health expert, evidently, Dr. Nathan Grills of Monash University. And he was called a killjoy and a Scrooge in the media for an article he wrote suggesting that Santa Claus was promoting bad health habits. Really? The article was called Santa Claus, a Public Health Pariah. Are you kidding me? It's Santa Claus. I love Santa Claus. Not to sound like Will Ferrell and Elf, but I mean, I do. I really do. I've got a Santa Claus, sidebar for a second. I've got a little Santa Claus that's as old, if not older than me, that I keep out all year. Now, I don't have him front and center until Christmas time, but I know where he is. He's up on top of the secretary desk where basically nobody sees him. He just sort of blends into the interior landscape. Why? Because I love Santa Claus, and I love all he represents, all he's about, and all about Santa Claus. Why wouldn't you? Seriously, come on, all right? But yeah, this guy wrote an article, Santa Claus, a Public Health Pariah. It was published at bmj.com, it's the British Medical Journal, and it suggested that Santa Claus was sending the wrong message, with his obesity, with also, okay, get this, a supposed drunk sleigh driving. I'm sorry, what? What? And speeding. Huh? Are you kidding me? And generally all around bad lifestyle choices. Okay, now, just stop. Seriously, this nut from Australia, just knock it off. I don't know about any of you, but Santa, again, he's one of my favorites, period. Loved him as a kid. I've been him as an adult several times. And to see the excitement, the childlike wonderment when a little one sees Santa, you see that on their face. Whoa. It's sheer, pure, unadulterated joy when a little boy or a little girl has the chance to meet and speak with Santa. I'm telling you this from personal experience. Okay, on the train at the New Hope and Ivyland Railroad just a few years ago, I was Santa several times because, again, Santa can't be everywhere, so he's got to have helpers. I'm glad to be a helper now and again. And for me to be him, from the inside out, I seriously, I'm a little verklempt here. I can feel it welling up here because it's genuine. From the inside out, I cannot tell you any warmer, more joyful, or wonderful feeling that I have ever had than being Santa Claus. Hands down. Period. But just like entirely too many other wholesome things from our youth, Santa is now not what these dill-holed, pin-headed twits want their little egg-headed, sheltered, soon going to need their own safe space kids knowing. And again, that's sad and pathetic. Oh, I guess that we could take our kids to the newest holiday movie. Did you see this one? A Violent Night? What? Have you seen the commercial trailer for that piece of junk? Garbage? No. Or okay, we could maybe let the kids watch an average television show for a while and let them be exposed to really good role models, like Snooki or any of the 16 and pregnant crowd on MTV. Instead of having them have anything to do with this dreaded Santa Claus. Ooh. No. Here's another quintessence of stupidity that the nation has approved on. The war on your neighbor's holiday Christmas lights. Yeah, their Christmas display. Uh-huh. Really? Folks, I can't make this up. I cannot, I wish I was making it up, but you just can't make this crapola up. As Christmas trees went up and light displays, again quoting, and light displays started flashing around the world, some of these joyless people cringed at the thought of the electricity required to light the season. One environmentalist group says here, bunch of wackos, by the way, the Energy Justice Network. Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Energy Justice League, Batman and Robin are looking for their light-up Santa Claus, while Wonder Woman and Aquaman are putting up the lights. Hey, come on. Seriously, the Energy Justice Network, they're providing tickets. Tickets. No, not like going to a concert. I'm talking like when, Johnny Law pulls you over, like traffic tickets on their website, for people to hand out to egregious offenders of what they call Christmas light/energy waste. Again, you can't make this stuff up, folks. You just can't. And I'm telling you all of this so you recognize it and you just summarily punt it out of your lives, whether it's confrontationally, and I don't mean having a fight. I mean having a verbal, quick, little snappy exchange like, yeah, no, we're not turning our lights off, but thank you, bye-bye now, okay, or whatever else. I remember discussing with others back again now when the so-called Affordable Health Care Act got forced through, that once this health care ridiculousness gets put into effect, we're going to be pitting ourselves against each other for government services, and we're going to be ratting each other out and telling the government on each other in order to perhaps put ourselves in a better position for getting government services and what have you, like but not limited to health care. That's no bullshit. That's no BS. Not at all. If you haven't seen or heard of it lately, do not be surprised if you see somebody in your neighborhood, for example, with a bunch of flat screen TVs, maybe more than one, maybe more, of course, than one should have, or maybe they're just too big. What do you need 72 inches for? Well, I could go on about that, but that's another discussion, but I digress. How come you need the TV that big? There's one right over there. I'm looking at one right over there that we use as a multifaceted monitor. What's that, Gino? About a 50-inch screen there, about 50 inches. Could you imagine that back in 1974? Really? You know what I mean?
25 inches was the biggest.
Holy fright, 25 exactly. And the console, you had that giant piece of honking, big freaking 3 billion pound piece of furniture with the stereo and the turntable and the TV and the thing. But it was only 25 inches worth of a screen from corner to corner. 50 right there. Okay, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 aspects of everything that we're doing right now as a monitor. But some people would walk in here, I bet you $1 to a donut, and say,
why do you have such a big TV? That's just too big. Why do you need that?
to where, again, my response would be, it's because of none ya.
I don't understand. None ya?
Yeah, none your business. That's why. Okay? So don't be surprised if there are people around the way who see that somebody has too many TVs in their mind's eye, or that the TVs that they have are too large, okay? And some do-gooder dillhole is going to be calling on the pollution police, and they'll come to the house of the guy with too many or too big TVs, and there's going to be, you know, a penalty or a finger wagging or something. This stuff is not outside the realm of possibility, folks. It's just not. A bunch, and I mean a bunch, too many to get into, I have to tell you, but a bunch of valid current government-based initiatives and so forth, things that we absolutely laughed about back in, I don't know, 1992, 1996, 1998, okay? And we were just like, yeah, right, like that'll ever happen. Right, Gino? That'll never happen, you kidding me? Yeah, that specter is still hanging over our heads. Remember how back, I'm going to say, what was it, 2004, Jano, 2005, when we all laughed at the folks over in Japan wearing the silly SARS masks? Look how stupid they look, and they're making them do it. Yeah, sound familiar? Who are the stoops now? Really? You know, Fauci and his cast of idiots, you got to wear the mask. No, I don't. No, I don't. I really don't. And that specter continues, like I said, to hang over our heads, okay? Even after almost 3 years, New York City has just recently said that they want people in the schools to put them back on. Yeah. Allow me to show you where you can put them back on. Right here. Okay, it's as simple as that. In any event, back to the Christmas lights, because I also like Christmas lights. I have to tell you, I like Christmas lights a lot. Many of these light detractors suggest swapping out traditional Christmas lights with the LEDs, the light emitting diodes that have become so popular. And they can be 90% more energy efficient. Got to tell you, after years and years of not having them around leading up to Christmas, I scrounged around the attic and found the electric window. The little the plug-in candles, Gino, with the bulb on top. Like the regular bulb that you could also used to put on the Christmas lights. Okay, I went up to the attic. I nosed around. I went back into the corner. I hadn't been in that section of the attic probably since the Carter administration, maybe the Reagan administration. I found them. Dad and I got them. I'm about 13 years old, back in late November, early December of 1977. Got them at Channel Lumber and Hardware, just down Route 18 in East Brunswick, where I live, okay? It was in the plaza that back then had Stop and Shop, Thrift, Drugs, Toys R Us. I worked there a few years later. Mr. Pizza, local pizza joint, delicious. We'd go there for a nice slice and a Coke, In any event, Mother and Dad hadn't been up to the attic in a bunch of years, these last several years. It's probably been since the late 90s, very early 2000s. They were up in years, and I didn't want them, and Mother didn't want Dad traipsing up there, and Dad didn't want Mother climbing around up there, so, they just sat up there. So I ventured up to the attic, and again, I delved into the farthest reaches of the attic at 41 Patton Drive, and voila, success! There they were. There they were, along with choir boys, about 3 of them, about so big, okay, made of hollow plastic, about a foot and a half tall. Again, there's a little clip. You put the traditional, incandescent Christmas bulb, usually white or clear if you can find one, so you can put them in there and they light up. My Grammy gave them to me. 1976, I think she got them for me. It was the year after my grandfather had passed, and she had like no money. I mean, literally, she had, if there was nothing, that's what she had, and there's just next to nothing. And somehow she finagled and she got me 3 of them. So I'd put them up all the time. I hadn't seen them in years, little choir boys, like a white, choir gowns, and their faces, oh, okay, dark hair, little red deal on the bottom. And we put them up around the front porch roof line. It was great. So anyway, I found the choir boys and these electric candles that Dad and I got back in '77. Cleaned them up because they'd been up there for, I don't know, older than my 25-year-old son's been alive. Cleaned them up, got them ready for the 2 kitchen windows, the dining room window, and the 2 windows that are in the den that used to be my old bedroom. And just like Dad and I would do, except now it was just me. Whatever, that's fine. But I felt my father with me doing this, by the way. Okay? Nice. Plugged them in, and behold, we had lights. Nice white-colored lights. Until a day or 2 later, and 1 or 2 of the bulbs went out because, okay, they're probably 30 or more years old, these bulbs. Probably the mid-'80s now that I think about it, since they were up last. I didn't think to look in the box. I'd found them all, and I just figured, well, I'll get some new ones when I go out. I went to Lowe's, went to the Home Depot. All they had were these new LED style ones. I could see they had other ones previously because they had different colors, but I didn't want green for the candles. I didn't want blue for the candles. I wanted white or even like yellow or orange, and they were all out of them. So clearly, they got a whole ton of these LEDs and a handful of the incandescents. Okay, I got you. They were gone. They were just long gone. I went back home a little dejected, and then again, I did think to look in the box that they were initially up in the attic. And lo and behold, there were a few extra light bulbs, and they worked. So it looked just like it did from the outside when I was in junior high and high school. To me, looks like $1 million. Really does. And every time I see these lights, whether I'm going by inside or I'm coming in from the outside, I'm a kid again. if not for just that moment. Again, it's about some childlike wonderment. Don't lose. Here's the thing, kids. A little tip from your Uncle John. Don't lose. Do not totally lose the essence of that childlike wonderment that you had when you were young. Don't do it. Don't do it, and don't be afraid to have it bubble back up to the surface again. And don't think it's a weird, weak, dopey thing. It's not. It's good. So, okay. LED lights. This is what they're advocating for because they're so much more, so much better. So, okay. And they are used. I get it. I mean, technology is what technology is. So they use them in New York City. On the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center, 32,256 of them, by the way, and in the ball at Times Square, for New Year's Eve, by the way. Now, here's a story from December 22nd, a few years ago, just in time for Christmas, from, again, The Nation, that liberal bastion of crapola, garbage that The Nation is all about. I think the story in question, however, is perfect. It's about the war on Christmas and how giddily and utterly excited these people get. Here's the thing. I'm not going to participate in any more of these stories now that I think of it. What for? Okay? I'm not going to let stuff like this irritate me, aggravate me, or annoy me. I'm aware of it. You should be too, that this stuff goes on. But I'm not going to participate in this yearly continual attempt at killing what we have known and loved and continue to know and love to whatever degree, small, large, or in between, about Christmas. They can try. They can try to beat it down. They can try to take it away from us. But here's the other thing. What we have in our hearts, in our minds, and our souls, okay? It's beyond what they know. They just don't get it. These socialists and extreme secularists have no clue what it is and what it's all about. They just don't know. They are threatened by it. They can't leave well enough alone because it's other people's faith in God that just absolutely terrifies them. Terrifies them. I, for one, and I hope you're one too, refuse to let these cement heads succeed. And they try at it, they get after it year after year after year, wearing away the joy and the wonder. Like last year when I found those window candle lights. That was last year that I originally found them. Okay? Again, the ones that Dad and I got back in 1977 when I was 13 years old. Okay? Don't let them take away your window candles from 1977. Don't do it. Clean them up. Get the bulbs. Light them up and have them shine brightly. And they want to just I don't know, they want to wear away the true meaning of this time of year and of this marvelous holiday. One of my favorites. We have to hold fast, and I mean fast, on many fronts, and this is one of them. So as we get into this weekend of celebration of the gift that God gave us all, I'm going to set aside, I should say, the socialist Scrooges who refuse to let the rest of us live the lives that so many other people fought to provide us. Why don't we put that on the shelf with the elf, perhaps? We'll get back to battling with them soon enough, I'm sure. But for today, for the rest of right here, for the rest of this week, and really as a matter of course, I want to work on, I don't know about you, and I hope this is you too, I want to work on enjoying my life, my family, my faith, okay? If there are those in my family or in your family or in your group of work people, neighbors, whatnot, who just, they just can't see any of the joy, whether it's you're helping them and they don't see it, or whether it's a great time of year and they don't get it. Illegitimi non carborundum. That's Latin for don't let the idiots grind you down. Just don't. You know what I mean? I'm going to enjoy my life, my family, and my faith. I'm also going to work on relaxing a little bit too. Hey, why not? 2023 is already shaping up. It's going to be busy. It's going to be good. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be positive. It's going to be productive. So we're going to be, Gina, what do you think, pal? We're going to be hopping. When this calendar flips, we are going to absolutely be like a bunch of one-arm paper hangers in a gale storm. It's going to be very, very busy. But, here's the thing. When you're an up-and-coming, powerful, influential member of the media, like me, And with the demands of the day-to-day happenings, relaxation can really be a luxury. It really can. But I'm still going to get to it, okay? And I bought some good presents too. I have to tell you, the older I get, the more I really, really enjoy the giving. I really do. So whether I know what they want, okay, or if I go with my gut, that's a pretty big determinator right there. I got to tell you, not as big as it used to be, but still. Or maybe a little bit of both. That's what gives me a heap of joy on Christmas is when I get something for somebody and they open that thing up and their eyes get big and there's a big old smile. I should have bought presents. I tell you what, yeah. Gino, I should have bought some presents for the mice that live in your garage. I'm sorry. I forgot. You know, well, I guess there's always Amazon. You know, you never know. I'm sorry, Gino. I forgot all about it. You know, what can you do? I bought some good gifts, so I have to say. I can't tell you what and for whom because they might be listening. But I had some real fun this year actually going to the store. Listen, I like goofing around with the other shoppers too while I'm there. You know, seeing who I can make smile or laugh a little bit because you know what? They want to. They have that face on that, that face. But as soon as you say something, you know, I did this the other day. Woman picked up a shirt over at the store, and I'm like, no, 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 not that one. And she looked at me like, oh, I'm like, well, wait a minute, which one did you get? She goes, oh, this is for my. Wait a minute. I'm like, gotcha. She had a good laugh. I had a good laugh, and I hope the rest of her day was made a little bit better because I kind of gave her that little bit of a wink and a smile. I gave her the business, but in a good way, All in all, and I've done some shopping too on the intranet, on the interwebs. I think I've done a good job, all things considered, with the presents. The people, however, at the Nation, they would despise me. Yeah, whatever. Good. Mission accomplished. And that stupid professor, what's his name, Waldfogel, he would highly disapprove of my behavior. Anyway, I'm going to wrap a bunch of them tonight probably and tomorrow as well. Then Friday, I'm off to Pennsylvania in the rain, it seems. It's that, I guess that schmutz that's coming in from the Midwest is going to first start as rain. So let me do that in the rain on Friday to be with my family, with Jamie, my son Jack, my daughter-in-law Lindsay, my two grandboys Blake and Crew, my mother-in-law Henrietta, our friends the Shotwells. Yes, the Shettlers, yeah. And whomever else that just may end up actually wanting to pop in from close by to be part of the Christmas fun and frolic after all. And if not, that's even better because don't want anybody to be where they don't want to be. Yeah. So much wrapping, so little time, I have to tell you. So, and the thing of it is, we're going to throw all that wrapping paper away on Christmas Day. We just may throw it in a cardboard box, go out back, and light it all on fire. Wow. I may even create an ecological micro-disaster, Gino. What a way to wrap up Christmas Day for me, John Thielon, your common ground pal. Oh, my goodness. I don't know. There may still be even cookies to bake. I don't know. To be honest with you, I just don't. If they're not already baked. We're probably going to get some of the worst kinds of foods you can eat. So Santa Claus is going to look like a marathon runner compared to me, maybe not, but you get the idea. By the time we finish up on Sunday night, Christmas night. But I'm going to enjoy myself. This is the bottom line. I tell you all of that nonsense that goes on from groups like The Nation so you're abundantly aware of what's happening. Because sometimes we get going so fast that we don't see it, we don't hear it, we don't feel it, we don't realize it. All this BS, I don't mean Barbra Streisand, all this Bolshevik is happening. It is. It just is. So I don't tell you this to be a downer. No, quite the opposite. I say these things about these wackadoo groups because just be aware. Realize what's going on. It's the equivalent of, remember when you were a kid and you were going to go get something for your mom or for your grandmother and they would say, okay, when you cross the street, look up and down. Same thing. Look up and down when you're, hearing all what you may hear and not actually digest, okay? I'm going to go enjoy myself for Christmas, okay? And New Year's. New Year's is not as big of a thing for me, but you know what? Why not? We'll figure it out. But for Christmas, I'm going to go enjoy myself, and damn it, I want you people to do the same thing, Okay? Please and thank you. By these things I stand, and you should too. That's all of it. That's all of it. Once again, give the rest of the week your best shot. Have an extraordinarily happy Christmas weekend, everybody. I'm going to slide on out of here, I think, for now. Next week's coming. I'll be back. That's the idea, on the 28th. But Merry Christmas. Happy New Year coming up. We'll talk about that next week, maybe. But have a very great Christmas this weekend. All my friends, all of anybody out there who are celebrating Hanukkah, enjoy it. There's 5 nights left? Let's see, 18, 19, 20, 21. So there's 4 nights left of Hanukkah. 8 days and 8 crazy nights. Man, I was always so jealous of my friend Alan Glassman because he got 8 days worth of presents. I only got 1. But you know what? It all evens out. All evens out. Enjoy Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Okay? Go have some fun. Go be with people who you care about. Go enjoy yourselves. Okay? Be good. Be nice. Be kind. Behave. Be patient. Okay? Be respectful. And be celebratory. That's it. That's all of it. Thank you and God bless you. Until next time, this is Common Ground with John Thielon. That's me. Safe travels to everybody as you're on the road. And again, to all, a very Merry Christmas. So long.